Tiny Toon Adventures was an animated TV series that aired from 1990 to 1995. It was basically a spin-off of Looney Tunes, where the classic characters from the series teach the kids, or Tiny Toons, of Acme Acres how to be funny. The show revolves around these Tiny Toons, whom a lot are based on some of the old school characters. It was a very successful series, and for the next decade over a dozen video games based off the show were developed. One of the first was released on the NES, simply titled Tiny Toon Adventures. You play as Buster Bunny on a rescue mission to save Babs, who has been kidnapped by Montana Max for unknown reasons. It's a traditional side-scrolling platformer. You go from left to right, stomping out enemies and grabbing carrots. Most of the stages are broken off into sub-levels, like Super Mario Bros., with a boss at the end of each world. Aside from Buster, you also get to choose a sidekick at the beginning of each world, each of which have different abilities. Plucky Duck can fly temporarily, Furball can climb walls, and Dizzy Devil can spin his way through blocks as well as enemies. You have to find these balloons that contain a power-up you have to pick up in order to toggle between your sidekick and Buster. The character toggling isn't the only thing you can find in these balloons. There are also hearts, which give you an extra hit point. Ordinarily it's a one-hit death, as well as a stopwatch that pauses the time limit momentarily. Oh yeah, you have a time limit, by the way. You run around and collect carrots, which can be traded in for extra lives when you hit up these doors that lead to Hampton, who will give you an extra life for every 30 carrots you have in your possession at the time. He's also a bit of an asshole. After you trade them in, he doesn't thank you or anything, he just says try to find more, which is not only inconsiderate, but he's also never satisfied. Fuck you, pig, you're not the boss of me, and what the hell do you want with carrots anyway? You also have a power meter that'll drain when you perform a whirlpool attack underwater, or a spin attack when you're dizzy. You won't be able to use your attack until it refills completely, which doesn't take too long, but you'll still be shit out of luck if you need it during this time. The controls are pretty good for the most part. I'm big on jumping controls on platformers, and you can move around fine while you're in midair and whatnot, but there is a little bit of a delay in the response. You don't get off the ground right away. It's not too bad, but it's something that could have been fine-tuned. Also, I'm not a big fan of how you pretty much can't sprint as Dizzy, since holding down the B button activates his spin attack. I know there aren't many buttons on the NES controller, but making the select button activate your special move wouldn't be a big deal. Not because Dizzy shouldn't be able to sprint, in fact I like how the characters have their own traits, but it can easily lead you to accidentally setting off the spin attack while you're instinctively trying to sprint. After all, holding down the B button while running to gain momentum is very common. The soundtrack is decent. Some of the songs do repeat, and the theme song to the show didn't need to be one of them. I personally find that song kind of annoying after it's played on a loop a couple times, but oh well. There are 6 worlds. The first 4 have 3 sub-stages each, and worlds 5 and 6 only have 1. So there are really 14 levels altogether, but they're pretty short, so it's really more like half of that. There's also a hidden boss battle if your total number of carrots is divisible by 11 after completing a level. You'll go up against Duck Vader, and you have to bounce off the stormtroopers, stunning them, and bounce off the head of Duck Vader, who switches positions between his diagonal shots with his lightsaber. 3 hits kills him, and if you're victorious, you'll get 3 extra lives. But if you die, you'll lose a life. It's not exactly a bonus stage, despite the fact that it's presented as one. So the game starts off with a cutscene of Buster watching TV when Montana Max interrupts the program and announces he's kidnapped Babs. He doesn't demand anything, he just calls out Buster and challenges him to come save her. So I guess he just managed to fork over enough cash, which he has plenty of, to send a direct signal to only Buster's TV, because I'm sure you can't get away with announcing that you're responsible for a kidnapping to the whole world, and somehow get away with it. So thus begins the adventure. First things first, you gotta pick your buddy. Shirley the Loon, who claims to be a fortune teller, hands out recommendations on which one you should go with. Or at least sometimes she does. In the case of the first world, she doesn't recommend anyone, but that's basically because it doesn't matter, so pick whoever you want. Personally, I'm not a big fan of her suggesting who to pick. It kind of defeats the purpose of having the option. I mean, some levels are better than others to have certain characters, but why tell the player which one before the level starts? It'd be like if the weakness loop in Mega Man was revealed to you on the select screen. Anyways, onto the game. The purple rats are a common enemy throughout the game. They just walk back and forth, so jump on them to take them out. You'll find this balloon early on with a heart power-up. Grab it. These ducks kinda hover, just stomp them out. You can also slide down these hills and take out enemies, kinda like in Super Mario Bros. 3. The rats that stand still will jump up into the air in an attempt to obstruct you from jumping on or over them. Wait for them to jump before taking them out. Then you'll find a balloon with a sidekick icon. Grab it. Soon after is the exit out of the stage. On the next stage, kill off the rats and duck early on, and grab the balloon with the sidekick power-up if you want. Once you get indoors, slip into this door for potential extra lives from Hampton if you have enough carrots. Kill the rats, and when you get back outside, Arnold the Pitbull shows up. He tosses dumbbells overhead, which get in the way of your path if you want to jump on him. Plus it takes 3 hits to kill him, so it's really not worth it, just run instead. A jumping rat on this platform is the last obstacle between you and the exit. But hold everything, we're not done with this stage yet. Elmira is trying to rape you, so you have to avoid her for a short time until the door appears and you're done with the level. If she gets a hold of you, then you get sent back to the beginning of the whole world, so don't let this happen. She'll just run back and forth, so jump over her and head to the opposite side of the room. You're basically playing keep away with your body. The final stage of the world is seemingly in a castle of some kind. Head up the stairs, kill the rat, and grab the sidekick balloon if you so choose. Then you'll encounter these pumpkin ghosts that resemble the boss in Monster Party. They fly in a wave pattern. Hop on them to decapitate the jack-o'-lanterns off. When you get down 3 levels of stairs, make sure you don't slip down again, because it's a bottomless pit and there's no indication of such a thing. Take a left up here to grab a stopwatch power-up in this balloon. And right after that, slip down here for a heart balloon, then hop up here and you'll have to deal with these falling spike blocks. Lure them out by standing on the edge and letting them drop. When you get to the top of this climb, sprint down the hallway so these druids that magically appear in a circle jerk won't make contact with you. After entering this door, you'll have to do the same thing, and then you'll meet up with the game's first boss, Dr. Freaky. He strangely skateboards back and forth like a half-pipe, and tossing an anvil when changing direction. Stand on the opposite side of him, give him a stomp when he's on his way back, and head to the opposite side so the anvil doesn't reach you. You don't want to be attacking him from the edges because you might get hit with the anvil while you're trying to stop him. After only 3 hits, he's all done, you'll get the key that you'll need later on, and it's on to World 2. Shirley recommends Plucky, go with him. Following the Super Mario Bros. Formula, the second world is a desert. There's a pit of quicksand right away that'll suck you in if you're in it too long. And you'll also encounter these red hermit crabs that look kinda like the crabs from Mega Man 2. These guys will jump up high and dig into the quicksand, so jump on them before you enter the sand pit so you don't careen into them on their way up and take a hit. On land, they'll fire the shell head on and run back and forth much faster, very much like in Mega Man 2. Soon after is a sidekick balloon, and then you'll hit up a swimming pool that's inexplicably stored in the middle of the desert. These weird spiked creatures walk along the perimeter of this platform, but they're not too fast, so jump in between them, grab the one apart in this balloon, and the exit is just ahead. The second stage is a swimming level, and it's easier to swim as Plucky, which is why Shirley recommended him for this world. Swim up, work your way between the fish, firing whirlpools to make things easier, and you'll get a 1-up balloon. Swim up here, fire at the fish that are stacked up to clear a path, and bang a left this way to get a sidekick balloon if you're Buster at this point. Next up is a fork. Both paths will cross in a little while, but the top way leads to a Hampton door and some potential extra lives, and all you have to deal with is a couple of these spiked guys. The bottom path is the same, plus a couple fish, and this jellyfish. It swims up a couple times, then slowly drifts back down. Swim under them or fire at them, and soon after that is the door to Elmira. The same rules apply with this animal rapist as the last world, but this room is more wide open than the last. Stay up top, she'll just run back and forth, but she'll follow you where you go. So lure her away, and when the door appears in the middle, make sure she's stopped and head down and exit the stage. The third and final stage of the world is on a pirate ship. So we've gone from the desert to underwater to a pirate ship all in one world. These pirates will walk back and forth and leap up to the next platform and toss swords at you. Jump on them, follow the linear path to the doors that simply take you to the door alongside it that's blocked. After the second door, grab the sidekick balloon if you like, and continue onward till you get to the door that takes you inside the ship. Grab the heart balloon and wait for these rats to toss their anvil before you move in and stop them out. Then be careful when walking in this area. There are spikes on the ceiling and floor, and the spikes on the ceiling will drop down, so don't stay still when underneath them. At the home stretch, don't jump on these barrels. They're rigged with explosives. Use the boxes. Soon after is the door to the boss, the pirate captain. He'll just walk around and try to make contact with you. Make contact with him in the form of a stomp. Each time you hit him, he'll hop off screen and roll a barrel at you. Keep away from it and hit him twice more and you'll finish him off, get the key, and World 3 is next. This time Shirley recommends Dizzy. Pick him for this one. In this world you grab green apples instead of carrots, so grab them, jump over or onto the owls that fly across the screen, and then stomp out the squirrel that walks around the perimeter of the platform. Right after is a sidekick balloon. Grab that shit and you'll be able to bust down a wall immediately. You'll encounter a Sonic wannabe that does a spin attack. Stomp him out or tear through him with your own spin attack, but make sure the hedgehog's not spinning when you do so. Slip into this nook for a heart balloon and soon after, these platforms here drop. So be wary of that as you hop from one to the other, and after a few more hedgehogs, you're done with the stage. The second stage is mostly narrow passages with a little room to jump on or over enemies, so the spin attack from Dizzy really comes in handy here. You can spin through the blocks here for a shortcut. Otherwise, take this route down and don't bother heading left into this gap unless you need to switch to Dizzy because there's a sidekick balloon here. Get it and head back quickly. The tree with the face on it will spit out 3 bats right after it flashes, and there's a beehive in this area too. Spin attack them if they come near you, and prepare yourself for more of this shit. The bees are fucking relentless. Then head down this gap which leads to a heart balloon, which you can still access if you took the shortcut by backtracking just a bit. Move on and you'll battle more trees and hedgehogs. Grab the sidekick balloon here only if you need to go back to Dizzy. The end of the stage is nearby, but if you have at least 30 carrots, you can head back for a Hampton bonus door. But you do have to get by some pesky bees, trees, and wipe out a long ass stretch of blocks, so you can't do it if you're Buster, or any of the other sidekicks for that matter. When you get to the end, you have to deal with Elmira again. This one's similar to the last time, only you have to jump from block to block. So you can't be as fast, and dropping down can be a big problem. Although if you're Dizzy, you can keep her from grabbing you with the spin. Although it is temporary, so keep that in mind. The exit appears at the far right side of the room. The third stage is underground. You have rats and bats, although they don't come flying out of the tree mouths 3 at a time, they hang from the ceiling individually. After entering the doorway to switch segments, scale up this rock, slip down into the mucky ass water, and swim across, keeping yourself at the top so you don't run into any fish until you get to the doorway for the next segment. Wait for these pink spiked balls to shift out of the way before passing, shoot this fish out of the way, and stomp the rats out on your way to a heart power-up and a door that leads to the boss, a werewolf. There are gaps in the ceiling that'll shift from one side to the other. He'll drop from one of the gaps and head back down the hole in an attempt to make contact with you. If the gaps are shifting from right to left, he'll drop from the right side, and if it comes from left to right, he'll drop from the left side. So stand on the opposite side, and when he's about to drop down the hole, stomp him. He's quick, so you gotta time this right. 3 hits and he's all done. Shirley recommends Furball for the 4th world. Heed this advice. Early on in the first stage, you've got dogs tossing flower pots at you from windows and cats throwing cans at you from garbage cans. Sprint through here. It's easier to get away from it all. Grab a heart from the next balloon and once again sprint down a path of dogs and cats throwing shit at you. Right after that is a sidekick balloon. Grab it and switch to Furball. The home stretch has more angry dogs, but now you have to traverse the floating blocks and avoid falling down the pit while dodging the dog attacks. You'll see the dog's head pop out, so watch for that and then wait for the attack so you can bypass it accordingly. Plus you can jump on them if you're up high enough to reach them. Careful of the barrels in stage 2. Every other one is rigged with an explosive, so just avoid them in general as a rule of thumb. Then you got these cats again that pop out of stacks of tires and throw cans. Avoid them. And the new enemy here are these rats that jump over the fence in the background and run towards you. Jump on or over them. Just watch your jumps. You don't want to be jumping forward all that often because they'll pop up right in your way. The entirety of the level is just a straight shot of all this shit, until you get to the end and have to deal with Elmira again. Or if you're Furball, you really don't. Normally you'd have to use these moving platforms to get to the top where the door is. Just make sure you don't miss or you might land on Elmira and have to backtrack to the beginning of the world. But if you're Furball, all you have to do is climb the wall, then wait for the door and you're done. Third and final stage of the world is a continuous climb. There's a sidekick balloon early on. Grab it if you're Buster and then move on. Stomp out the rats and then climb up the wall to bypass all the platform jumping you'd have to deal with if you didn't pick Furball. You can't go up the entire level this way though, as you'll get blocked off, but you can still cling on to some of the smaller platforms in the middle and slip back up. Kill a rat or two and then go back up to climbing. Just watch out for these annoying pink birds. Always stay above them, and if they get close, jump on them. When you get to the door, don't go in just yet. Climb the wall some more and grab a heart balloon. Then hit the door for the boss battle with the gorilla. This one's different because you're not trying to hit him. Instead, you're going after his kids. He jumps on the platform, which will freeze you if you're on the ground. So jump just as he's about to land to avoid this, and he'll send a pair of his children down from above with each of his jumps. Stay balanced and squash them out. And after each series, a piece of the gorilla's platform will drop off until you get all 4 of them and he falls to his death. Stupid bastard. Shirley doesn't recommend a sidekick for the 5th world, but I suggest Dizzy. It's only one stage in the whole world and no boss. The objective is to collect Go-Go's. There are 5 of them spread throughout the 3 segments of the stage. The first segment is almost entirely platform jumping, which would have led me to choose Plucky, but you won't find the first sidekick balloon until the next segment. So just jump from platform to platform with Buster and grab the Go-Go that's chilling down here. There's an extra life door with Hampton over here if you have the carrots to exchange. Watch out for these weird ass green things that pop out and try to bite you. Keep yourself jumping throughout and you shouldn't have to worry about them and hit the door to the next segment. There's a sidekick balloon right away. Grab it and tear the ass out of all the cretins in your way with spin attacks and stomps. Grab the 2 Go-Go's on these platforms and hit up the next door. This segment is much like the last one. Just stomp out or spin through the weird ass enemies, an eyeball with arms that just runs back and forth, and these pens that jump. This place is fucking bananas. Grab the 2 Go-Go's, one here and one here. When you get to the last one, you'll be brought to this screen where all the Go-Go's merge and morph into a giant Go-Go, much like the Mighty Bomb Jacks do in the Tecmo Super Bowl. Only here, Go-Go explodes and you get the key. What the hell? If you miss a Go-Go and you're on the last segment, then you'll have to go into the door at the end of it and loop back to the first segment. And you can't make your way backwards, you have to go back through all the segments again. So the time limit really becomes your enemy here. So that's it for World 5. World 6 is also one stage, and it's also Montana Max's mansion, so it's the final level. Shirley once again doesn't recommend a buddy for this world, bringing the tally to 3 out of 6 times that she does. Some fortune teller she turned out to be. Stomp out the security guard that throws nightsticks at you, and then the lights will go down, thanks to that asshole on the 2nd floor. The old falling chandelier trick happens here too. Pass by them quickly and wait for the lights to come back on so you can actually see where the pits are. Thankfully you can still see the security guards in the dark. You get to a locked door that you'll unlock with one of the keys you got earlier on. Grab a sidekick balloon if you need to, and slide under these narrow spaces with the spikes hanging. Make sure you get a good running start on these longer stretches so you don't pop up too early and get spikes through the head. At the same time, be ready to jump once you clear the space so you don't go down into the pit. And don't worry about the security guards while sliding, you go right through them. Unlock another door and then hop onto this platform that'll ascend, and you've got bags of money being fired at you from these cannons on either side. Get down on the ground to dodge the first 2, lightly jump over the 3rd one so you don't bump your head on this next one, and then jump over the next. The next one will miss, jump over the next, and then duck down for the next 2 and jump again. Jump one more time and then duck, and then you're done with this shit. Grab the heart balloon and unlock the door. Here, Arnold the Pitbull returns, but he does a quick charge. As soon as you land on the platform, jump immediately to get over him. There'll be 3 of these before you hit the next door. Here you'll have to jump on these little steel platforms that pop out momentarily. Hop up them as they extend, and if you fall, maneuver to the side so you don't fall down the pit in the middle. Once you get to the top, unlock the door, and it's time for the battle with Max. He'll stand on one of the 2 platforms and a punch glove will pop out from one side of the screen. Use the glove as a boost to smash him, and then he'll go back into the wall and come back out again from either door. Giant coins will also fall from the ceiling, which can hurt you, but you can use them as a springboard if you land on them. A second glove will join the fray, so keep your eye out for them. They'll pop out just a little bit before extending, and they only go about halfway across the screen. So always stay on the opposite end once you see them coming. After 3 hits, he's all done. The curtain drops, like Super Mario Bros. 3, and pops back up, and Babs is rescued and Max is punished, apparently by rape. Then you get the whole everyone is at peace text with Buster Stone, Babs posing like a whore, and everyone else all tweaked out on crank. And then the credits roll. Tiny Toons isn't the greatest platformer of all time. It doesn't break any ground or anything, but it's a solid game overall that's fun to just pick up and play. There were many other Tiny Toons games released on other consoles, including a sequel on the NES, Trouble in Wacky Land, but we'll save that for a later date perhaps. And that wraps up this edition of Aqualung's Game Reviews. See you next time.